Everybody, this is going to be a video review on or product review on the GopherHawk. It's a gopher catcher, a gopher trap. So you're saying, how the heck can I use this thing if I'm on my knees in a living room with a box on the floor? Well, you can't unless you go where the gophers are. And I'm going to take the camera and the tripod and I'm going to go over to my mom's house in a little bit and maybe set this up. So let me unbox this thing. One unbox, two unbox. Wow, this is a serious package here. What do we have here? Caution, do not push down on top of trap. Strap breakage may result from mishandling. Straps are exposed by pulling up on the outer sleeve. Use only outer sleeve to place and set trap. Do not push down on spring or top of trap at any time. If breakage occurs, contact us directly for repair options. I think they will replace it up to so many months or maybe a year. Okay, I'm looking for my reading glasses that are across the room. So this is going to be a challenge. Hey, I'm back. Locating the gopher tunnel. First, remove the probe tool stored within the wedge handle. So there's a probe tool and a wedge handle. You got your wedgie. Look for the area of most recent activity, mounds of loose, upturned, and slightly moist soil. Probe, wow, listen to this. Probe tool, moist soil and probe tool. Probe the surrounding area in a radius of about 6 to 10 inches. 6 inches, yeah, not 10. Out from the mound, oh baby. Push the probe straight down, feeling the soil. Feeling the soil with the tool as you puncture the solid ground. This is an intense write-up. Can you even say this stuff on here? A gopher tunnel will feel as though the ground gives way, like a loose or hollow space under the surface when struck by the probe. That's true. What they're saying is that when you take the probe and you put it into the ground, when you put the probe into the ground, there is a tunnel lower down. And so when you put the probe in the ground, you're going to have hard, solid, usually you'll have hard, not where the hole is, but around the hole. That's why they're talking in 6 inches, 8 inches. So when you go around the area where he dug upward, his feed hole, you move the probe into the grass or the dirt, and as you push it in there, it's going to be really hard. But when it finds the tunnel 6 inches underground, when it finds the tunnel, as the probe goes through, it's going to be rough, but then it's going to hit this tunnel and it's going to go bump. It's going to sink and stop. That's how you know you're at the tunnel. So that's what they're talking about. Note the location of this puncture and carefully remove the probe, returning it to the wedge handle. I'm going to take that out in a minute. Make a hole to access the tunnel. After locating the tunnel with the probe, rest the tip of the wedge in the small hole left behind by the probe, using a stirring motion to expand this hole, opening the tunnel to the surface. Rotate the wedge outwardly while pushing down. This will compress the soil side to side, keeping much of the dirt from collapsing into the tunnel. Continue pushing down and compressing the sides of the hole until the wedge gives way to the gopher tunnel. I'm going to explain that in a minute. Setting the gopher trap. After opening the tunnel, remove the wedge and set aside. With the hole enlarged by the wedge, the gopher trap can now be inserted. Man, you're inserting your probe tool into the moist soil 6 inches around the mound. Holding the black outer sleeve, push the trap to the bottom of the tunnel. Do not set the trap until it is completely in the ground, because you're going to break it. Once the trap is in place, hold the cap steady and pull upward on the outer sleeve until it sets. Be careful not to push down on the cap while setting the trap. This action could result in bent snars or breaking it, actually. Dispose of the gopher, simple to do without touching it. Hold the trap over the area where the gopher is to be deposited. Compress the springs, pushing back on the outer tube, but not to set the trigger as the trap opens. Okay, so what do we have here? Deactivating a prime trap. Hold the spring. Well, let me read this and then I'll do it. It is necessary to deactivate the trap retracting the snars before attempting to place it in a new location. Holding the spring end of the trap in one hand, use the other to firmly tap the outer sleeve. Okay, let me read that again. Holding the spring end of the trap in one hand, tap the other firmly on the outer sleeve while keeping your fingers away from the snars. The impact on the outside of the tube will set off the trap. Decompressing the trap, back off. What do they mean, decompressing the trap spring? Back off spring to relieve pressure. It is possible for the trap snars to become bent or misshapen. To correct snare shape first, make sure the trap is deactivated. Yeah, you cut off your fingers. Then back off the spring to deactivate the pressure and free the outer sleeve. This will allow the trap to be set and adjusted without risk of snapping shut. Back the spring off until the yellow catch indicator completely visible and uncovered by the spring. Holding the trap upright, turn the springs until it clicks. Okay, so I'm not going to get into that. I've read things that say there's rust in the ground and it won't last long. I've read other things that say if you do it the wrong way, like they told you here, you will bend the snars or you'll break them, or they will just break on their own. I'm not expecting this to last a long time. I don't think this is a tool or a trap that is meant to last a long time. Why did I buy it? I bought it for the video, to make a video, number one. Number two, I bought it because when I did a raccoon video, we had a company come out and, what the heck's going on? We had a company come out and legally trap some raccoons. And when they came out, I asked them what they use, and they said, oh, you know that thing you push in the ground that pops up. Well, these aren't cheap. These are like $30-some, but I know a lot of people, you look online, and a lot of these companies, they buy 5 of these, 10 of these, 20 of these, and they just set them up all over. So what do we have here? We've got this beautiful probe, this pointed probe. So what they were saying is you take the cap off. You take the cap off. Now, I just want to, let's assume that the gopher, let's assume that this is a tunnel. Let's assume that this is a tunnel. The gopher crawls through this tunnel, and let's assume there's a little opening over here. So the gopher crawls through the tunnel and makes an opening so that he can crawl out and grab his food on the lawn. And then he goes back in and he goes through the tunnel. Some of these tunnels go, usually they're like 4 to 12 inches below the ground. You have the feed hole, and then you have a tunnel 4 to 12 inches below. And then there's another hole that goes to a tunnel maybe a couple feet below ground. And these things go all through the neighborhood and all through your neighbor's yard. So if you try to flood them out, usually they can build up the dirt and get away. They've got areas where they go to the bathroom, areas where they feed, and areas where they sleep. So the idea behind this is that if this is the tunnel, you'll take the probe and you put it into the lawn, and it's going to feel hard, it's never going to give, and you're going to come to this one area where you're going to put it in and it's going to go woo, it's just going to give and then it's going to stop. That is the tunnel. So once you find the tunnel and you got your little hole in the ground, then you are going to take a handle, or you're going to take your wedgie or whatever this is the wedgie, and you're going to take this tip and you're going to insert your tip into the little hole, and you're going to go down until you feel that tunnel where it stops. Boom, it stops over there. Then you're going to take this thing and move it around to enlarge the hole and compact the dirt side to side so that it won't cave in, so that the hole won't cave in. The feed hole, wherever you're doing this, the hole won't cave in. Then you are going to take, then you're going to pull this out, obviously, and then you're going to take this thing and you're going to if I have this right, you're going to take this and you're going to insert it into the hole that you just made with your wedgie tool. You're going to pop that into the hole. And normally, see where it says don't push down? Logically, you would say, I need to push that down to get this thing to feed through. But if you do that, you're going to break this thing. You're going to break it. What you do is you hold, this is already mounted into the ground. If trap won't set, hold spring in one hand and slap the black tube against the palm of your hand. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold this cap and you're going to push. Whoa, is there some serious springage there. And look at these. These are a little different than what I was expecting. The ones I saw on the internet did not look like that. But you're going to put this thing in here. You're going to hold this cover. You're not going to press down, because if you press down, you're going to break it. You cannot push. See, the thing is, if you press down, these snars are going to go into solid ground and you're going to bend them and break them. You need to hold this thing on the ground and don't press down. That's the thing. Hold the cap now. Hold the cap. This is so bad to make a video like this. You're going to hold the cap and you're going to pull upward. Oh, does that require a lot of strength. And I don't want to break it now. You can see how I possibly could have broke it if I... So all I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this. This is what it does. And it needs a lot of strength, let me tell you. I got this on my chest. And so those are the snars. And you saw it just activated. You got this little black thing in there. I don't know what the heck that is for, but that flops around. And then, I don't want to ruin this thing. But what will happen is the GOPHER will, you have to make sure that the openings over here are facing the area where the tunnel, so that the GOPHER is going to go into here. He's going to say, hey, there's some light above. I don't like this. Or he might just say, I'm crawling through the tunnel, and he's going to get stuck in this thing. And now, they did say, I don't want to activate it, they did say that if you needed to, hold on to the spring and tap the black thing. Whoa! Oh my God, yikes-a-mundo! This is going to go in the box. I'm going to put my wedgie tool and my throbbing prober in the box, and get the camera. That's it. So I'm going to close up the box and take it over to my mom's house. Check out the video description box. I will leave Amazon affiliate link in there. You can click on that and buy it. And if you don't want to buy it, but you still buy on Amazon, click on those links before you do. That will definitely help me out. Thanks for watching. And off to my mom's house now, so we can test this out. Where's the button to turn this off? So I'm in the backyard. Let me show you what's going on here. We've got some of these traps over here. I mean, not traps, some of these holes. I moved the dirt mound away. I put some alfalfa in all of the holes, and the alfalfa has not moved. So I know that none of these are active anymore. Oh, we got a new, no? So you can see the alfalfa's in there. Then he went over here. I guess they're all he's, I don't know. Went over here, did this mound, this mound, this mound, this mound, and this mound. So we know all of this is connected with a tunnel. I opened up the hole, I moved the dirt away, I opened up the hole, and he closed it within a couple hours. I was gone, but he closed it. And then, let me get this tripod adjusted right. So he closed it within a couple hours, and then I came back a couple days later and opened it up again. And he closed it within the next day, probably when I was not here, obviously. So, that's called a plug. They fill it up with a plug. I don't know if he's active right now, but let me show you how this thing's supposed to work. I do know that when I lifted this dirt up, the tunnel went that way, I think. The tunnel also goes this way towards this big mess. So I'm going to get out the prober box, get my wedgie out, and what I want to do is, you want to have it like 6 or 8 inches so you can see how it's fighting right now. The lawn is tough, And I'm going to press down, and let's just watch this thing. Can we see it? Let's get a better view. Okay, you saw how it just dropped down? That means the tunnel is over here. Now let's try it over here. Pressing down, it's in solid dirt. And it's maybe a tunnel over there. Let's press it to solid dirt. There's no tunnel over there. We do it to the right. Nothing to the right of this. I'm going to do it over here. Probably nothing over there. Okay, so the tripod's kind of fighting me a little bit, so I know he's kind of over here somewhere. Let's try that again. In, and it's very firm. No, that feels like solid dirt. See how that, see what happens? See how it kind of, and that's right next to this opening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get the wedgie now, and I'm going to put the thing in there, and then I'm going to take this little mound of dirt and I'm going to remove it. So he will see the light coming in, and he won't like that. He's going to try to go to the light area to close it up. Now, some people leave an opening so the gopher goes towards the light, the hole, and tries to close it. Other people cover it up. I'm not going to do that, so I've got my prober in there. I forget what they called that. Okay, so I'd like to clean that, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to go take my, oh, is that it? Yeah, that's it. Workmanship quality, it's already cracked. I'm going to take this wedge thing and take it now, and I'm going to push it in. Boy, is that tough. You see what just happened? See how it dropped down? That means it's at the bottom of the tunnel. So you want to move this thing around now. You want to do that so that you are opening up the hole, and also so you're pushing the dirt against the sides to compact it so it doesn't cave in. You want to also kind of do that at the bottom. So we know that this is the bottom of the tunnel now, and it's going to lead right over to this opening. And we've got the opening wide enough so that the tool should go in there, the trap should go in there. A lot of dirt. Now we're going to take the trap, and remember it says don't press down. You don't want to do that because you're going to break those knobbies over there. So you're going to put this thing in all the way until it bottoms out. That's the important thing. It bottoms out. You don't want to press downward. That's the tricky part. Is this showing on the Camerito now? And now you'll remember you don't want to have any pressure on there. That will break it. So put your hand on the side. This is the hard part because this needs a lot of force to trigger, to set. And I think it's triggered right now. That didn't take that much power. Now, my mistake is I did not look. I'm going to trigger this. I want to trigger it. I want to trigger it because I don't. Wow, this is not good. This is how you can break it now, pulling it out. I did not look and see where the opening was for if the opening was clear for the gopher to go through the little snarls. I'm just going to have to take my chances. Okay, I'm going to try that one more time. I'm going to use something a little more sturdy. trying to trigger it, but I can't. Yeah, I don't want to break this thing. So I'm just going to take my chances now that I opened it up, that I put it in there. Wow, this is really compacted. He has really filled this hole up. So I'm going to open this up again. And okay, so I'm going to change that. I want to show you why. I do need to get that thing opened. Look at what we've got here. That's where the tunnel's going. The tunnel is going this way. So I need to get this thing out of here. I don't know how. I need to get that out of there and get this thing opened. I'll be back. Yeah, I'm lucky I didn't break it. I pulled it gently. Luckily, I wedged that hole a little bigger than needed to be, and the whole thing came out with the snarls still out. So I hit the side. They went back in. So what you need to do, I think what's going on is this hole over here feeds to that, I hope. So I'm going to look and see which way the snarls need to be. And put that back in there. This is not an easy thing to use, I'll tell you that. It takes a lot of strength to be able to activate this thing and to push that wedge into the ground. And this is a tough thing to do also without trying to break it. So it's in the ground now, and the way you'll know if it's activated is you will have yellow over here. So I'm going to go back in the house. He might come out over there, he might come out over here, he might not even be in the ground anymore. And I'll see if I catch him in a few minutes.